What if your life's work was equated to the stuffing in a sofa cushion? That is a quote from Emma Thompson, the great actress. This is what she said when a journalist referred to her acting career and films as content. No. She said it was incredibly rude, dismissive, like equating her work to spilled coffee grounds in a sink, nothing more than filler. So that's basically what I'm speaking about today. I want to talk about artists versus content creators, art versus content. It's not sort of versus, but what the difference is between those two things. And when I've tried to talk about it on camera, off, artists versus content creators is like one discussion, and then art versus content another. But I feel like they're connected. So throughout this video, if I start talking about one or the other, is because I'm trying to assess the sort of landscape of it all, because now everything is content or referred to as content. Music, songs, art, novels, poetry, great content. You're making great content. And what does that even mean? And like, is there a difference between art and content? Is there a difference between being an artist and a content creator? Artists would probably defend what they do and say there is, but now artists are being forced into becoming content creators, or to become an artist, you must be a content creator first if you want to be recognized as an artist. How else will they see your art if you do not make content that supports it, right? Or can you make content that is art? You can see why I might go off in different tangential meanderings because of this. And it's sort of difficult to talk about, but I think it's important. I was researching it, trying to find, research papers or academic papers on this sort of thing. And there are a few like discussion points on it. Maybe it's too new, but I think it's having a massive effect on the cultural landscape that we're in right now, and how we sort of interact with art and culture, how our brains are trying to differentiate between, is this actually an ad I'm being given, or is this someone's piece of work they're trying to show me? If I say, what is an artist? What do you think of when I say, who do you think of when I say artist? Musicians, painters, novelists, writers, bands, poets, actors, playwrights, filmmakers, people who are making a piece of art to give you. They're trying to convey something, tell a story, communicate something. Though they would say that art is, the difference between art and content is art is with intent and purpose, but without the need of immediate audience feedback. An artist can create art and it could never be seen. Great art, some of the greatest, I always say, some of the greatest musicians and artists in the world we've never heard of and never seen, because they're not hustlers. And that's a whole other story, but we're talking about the industry that we're in now. So if you want to find your audience, you need to be a content creator, right? Or nowadays you do. So then I was thinking, what is content? And I was trying to find a definition. I mean, before it was just like you associated with what's inside a box, the content of this box, the content of this cupboard. What do you think of when you think of a content creator? Now I think that you immediately start thinking about TikTokers, YouTubers, Instagrammers. You think of the platform. You think, oh, a TikToker. But then what is a TikToker? Like, it can't just be a TikToker. You're not actually telling me anything about the person or what they make. You're telling me the platform that they use. So if you talk about a musician, you wouldn't go, I'm a Spotifyer or I'm a Apple Musicer, would you? But maybe that's because these people exist solely on these platforms as filler. They are just the people who exist on there. That's their home. And the creation of the video is just them communicating. But a content creator, I think of the platform, and the medium is the message, is what Martin McLuhan, if you ever studied media studies, that's his big thing. These platforms create the content creators, and I imagine each content creator is different in each platform. But what is it that they make? What is it? You can't just, if you say, hey, I'm a content creator, I've got nothing. You could be making videos about cleaning, the inside of cars, which I've heard are very good, or you could just be someone with a dash cam who's filming dash cam moments, or you could be someone teaching me how to cook. You could be someone just talking about your day. You could be someone talking about mental health. You could be someone who does dance videos. You could be someone who's just lip syncing and getting a lot of money. Would you call that art? An artist, if you say, let's say you're a singer, someone says, what do? Would you call yourself a content creator? No, you'd specify, wouldn't you? Go, or I'm in a band, or I'm a singer, I'm a songwriter. And then you use those platforms to push your art. So it seems like the two identities are very separate. Content creator sees the platform maybe as their home, and then they put stuff on it, and they make money. It's all about views, numbers, stats. The like button came into our lives in 2009, and I feel like it definitely changed everything. Beforehand, you would put out something and then it just existed. There was no immediate feedback loop. And then the like button came along, and then it told you how many likes each person got and how many likes you got. Now, would content creators exist if there was no immediate feedback? The definition I found online for content is the material people contribute to the online world. The material people contribute to the online world. That's just like saying air, right? Or data. What does that even mean? The material people contribute to the online world. So if you say you're a content creator, you are a person that contributes to the online world, okay. But it's said a bit more of a, that's my job, that's my purpose. So then it's a job. Now, artists, the blurring line between content creators and artists, I think a lot of artists are forced to make content to promote their work. It's up to them to brand themselves, push themselves. Even older bands, younger bands, but particularly younger bands, you need to have the following. I mean, we all know this now. You don't get a meeting with a label unless you have a certain amount of followers, a certain amount of likes. They're not going to pay one bit of attention to you. Where back in the day, it was the A&R people. A&R was a big thing of how artists were found music. And I know I'm focusing mostly on music, but I feel like that's the art form that most people interact with in the world. They would go to gigs, they would listen to demos, people would hand them their demos, they'd have to meet people in real life. They would scouts, they were artist and repertoire is what A&R means, artist and repertoire. They're part of the record labels, they are the talent scouts. Once they sign someone, they help develop them then to be sort of digestible by the music industry per se and sell records, because once you sign someone, bands now in debt to the record label and they need to make money. So the cynical sort of side of it's still there when people say they're an industry plant. Do you think they're an industry plant? That's the record label's job. That's what the industry does. It finds someone, plants them, and helps them grow. So this whole industry plant thing, I mean, I guess most people think they think of it as the Simon Cowell, Boys Only, X Factor, Westlife. You find four boys and put them together. But in general, that's what labels are for. They're there to plant talent so that we all see it. So now you could say that this is now the democratization of that it's down to you to build your audience yourself. Look at you. It's democracy. Look at all the people that like it. But that means that you need to be likable, right? You need to have a likable personality. You need to be good at the trends, the algorithm, which is completely aside from the art. And anytime I've worked with artists who have to make a promo video, the sadness on their face. It feels like, I mean, you can see them when they're doing press. You see actors doing junkets. No one likes the promotion of their own work. A true artist is actually almost repelled by the need to perform anything extraneous to the art in itself. And I think some audiences sometimes get angry. They're like, why are they so ungrateful? Why aren't they performing for me? You should like them for the art. You should like them for the song. If you love Radiohead's Just, and then you're annoyed Tom York isn't happy that someone's making him do a TikTok trend, good. I'm glad he's unhappy making a TikTok trend. I'm glad. I'd be worrying if he did. His job is to make more songs like that and all the other great songs he made. But now you have to be likable, and you have to, God forbid, you actually show any sort of contrarian attitude towards the medium, or you'll be shunned. Chapel Roan was a good example recently when she said she gets frightened by fans coming up to her. Fair enough. There's a whole, like, you're one person and millions of people know who you are. It must be terrifying. I'm terrified if someone comes up to me in the street. Even if I know the person momentarily, I'm absolutely shocked. Imagine that was potentially anyone you walked by. And then her, telling off the photographer for shouting at her. All good things, I think. And people say, oh, you should be grateful. That's put her there. No, she wants... People think you need to be grateful constantly for everything you do. But, like, it's the industry. If you're in work and you enjoy the main bit of your work, and then your boss makes you have to do certain types of accounts or admin, you might hate that. And if you're in the industry, that's industry work. They don't have to enjoy that part. Now, Devin Townsend said that 90% of the work that modern musicians have to do is content creation. And at first he found that very jarring. Now, Devin Townsend is a great musician, songwriter. You can listen to all of his music and stuff if you want to. He said, but that's just the industry. So if artists are now complaining that they have to make videos or content or pander to the algorithmic gods at play, should they just not be in this industry? Why are you trying to make money from what you do, from your art? If you're a true artist, surely just creating that song is enough, or that painting, or that book. We live in capitalism. It requires us to pay our rent and bills. It requires us to constantly make money. So even if you make loads of money one month, you're going to be alive for a few more years. That's not good. You need to, it's just constant, right? So you can't do both. If you're going to be a full-time artist, then you're going to have to be one that gets paid. Now, and this leads us into the Nepo Baby question, which I'll speak about in another episode, where I think Nepo Baby is the only way you can be an artist these days. But I'm not going to go off on a rant on that. A good example of the likeable artist is Lewis Capaldi. And we all love Lewis. He's hilarious, very likeable, very good online, effortlessly funny, makes great songs, great voice. Came up through the system of actually like gigging, and when he was young, like underage, going to gigs, venues, playing music, writing songs. Another case of the, spent years becoming an overnight success. And then it was all too much. Now, which bit was too much? Was it the content creation and the fame from the likability? Was it the constant need to put his face out there? Or was it the art? Was it the art and the performance that was making it too much? I saw a video recently of him coming back saying, I know I'm back with music, but the main thing people said to me was, oh, I really missed your TikTok videos and your funny videos online. Not his music, which I think he found a little bit annoying, irritating, hurtful. Maybe not hurtful, but
pull up a goddamn fucking pew. I haven't really been up to anything. I wish I had more to fill you in on, but I kind of thought, I'd come on here and be like, I've been away. I've been a long couple of years of me doing nothing. It's been great to get a break, if I'm being honest with you. The pressures of being an international pop star, sex symbol, philanthropist really get the way on you. And big things upon these shoulders. This is great. Good to see you all. New music's coming. I'm back on social media. Am I feeling the crippling pressure of making funny faces and funny jokes on Instagram? Yes, I absolutely am. I feel like the majority of people just want to see me make funny jokes and not want to see me. I've been asked more since I've been away, when are you coming out with new music, as opposed to when? No, I've been asked more, when are you coming back to social media, as opposed to when are you bringing out new music? Which as a musician is a tough pill to swallow, but I'll take it.
If you're an artist, the content isn't what you want to be known for, is it? It's disposable, it's transient. I mean, elitism starts to creep in here, but maybe a content creator would be fully aware of the fact that making a video lip syncing, I don't know, I'm pretending this is a phone. I'm going to put an example of someone really, I think she's got 6 million views. So it's because she's pretty. And that's not me going, oh, it's because she's pretty. Like, she's pretty. People like looking at aesthetically beautiful things. So it makes sense that people who are incredibly beautiful have more eyes on them. Anyway, so she's lip syncing to a song. That's one bit of the content. And then another video is behind the scenes of her lip syncing to the song.
3, 2, 1, okay.
And when I saw it, I was like, oh, why am I even looking at this? This not because and even her beauty didn't make me feel good. I was like, I get like, woo, they're just having fun, but it's like all the time. Like, this is what's on our feeds all the time. This is what most people are consuming. People are like, just get off your phone. We're beyond that. We're beyond that. Everyone pop their phone down and everyone needs to get outside. This is what's happening. People are on their phone. People are more isolated. Parents are fearful of having kids left, playing outside. Teenagers have no money to socialize, blah, 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 blah. You can't go to the pub, blah, blah. We're on the phone. And the phone's full of people doing that thing. I'm not even going to pretend to lip sync. And then the behind the scenes of it. And then all the replica things. So content creators just create, this is finally, I've made it to the point. Someone comes up with a trend. I never know who the first person is. It's like they just keep coming. They just keep coming, these trends. And then thousands of people replicate it. So, that's different to art. Art, you're creating your own thing. There's meaning, you're trying to generally convey a message, a feeling, emotion. You probably want to go on stage and sing it to loads of people. There probably is an element of wanting to be famous and have the lifestyle of a rich person, as is the content creator, who also probably wants the lifestyle of what would have been considered a famous person. But it's just too much now. And now artists are now lumped in with that. So now on your phone, I think the issue we all have now is depth is optional. And when depth is optional, we stop looking for it. And the internet now is full of, it's no longer a niche alt thing. I listened to a podcast by Max Reed with Joss Cinderella, and was it with Joss Cinderella? I think it was. And he was talking about the Zinternet, which is how the internet's now become mainstream. And that sounds probably absurd to a lot of people, but back before, the internet was, you might have been the weird kid in your town, or you might have been into some niche TV show or activity, or you might be a goth. There might only have been one other goth in your village or town, or maybe no other goths. So you would go online and you'd find all your niche communities on their forums. Forums are great. It was before social media. Normal people, I put in air quotations, weren't really on the internet. So it was a very niche, interesting, weird stuff, cool subcultures, art, mostly art and culture and music and fandoms. And now it's everyone's on the internet. What does that mean for the internet? And he coined it the Zinternet. He says it's the male version, because he's a man, so he's mostly probably only getting stuff fed to him from men. Is like sports videos and gambling ads and gambling content, and I don't know if gambling content's allowed. And he thinks it's the guys who love using Zyn, which are those nicotine or tobacco patches that go in your gum. And that our feeds, and I noticed it recently, when I go on one of the feeds, I'm not getting necessarily interesting art. I'm getting just someone filming a street, a sports video, the news, something around, someone smiling and lip syncing, someone it's all very, someone eating chicken wings. It's not as it was. It just sounds very nostalgic of me, but it's become more mainstream now. So when A&R people existed, before the need to constantly make content, they were looking for greatness, or at least they were trying to. they go to gigs and see bands live and musicians, and they were looking for the next big thing. Gatekeepers in a way, curators. Again, referencing the democratization, which is better? Someone who's has a love of music, trying to find something really musical, but that's interesting and new, and not just something we've heard before and that we like, which is the loop we can get into. That sounds like the thing I liked before. I'm going to listen to it again and again and again and again and again. They at least had an awareness that they were trying to find different sorts of artists. With Lewis Capaldi, now he needed to be two things at once, and I'm just how can you be both? How can you do both well? How can you make your art if you're constantly aware of the feedback loop? Because as we said, if art is something that's created with intent and meaning, regardless of what the audience think, because you make the art and then you find the audience through the art because they appreciate the art in itself. You don't find the audience and make the art for them. But now with social media, the constant feedback loop, the like, the comment, the like, you release a song and you pop it on one of the platforms and it only gets 10 instead of 20 likes. Oh, we won't release it then. Right? A good example, 2 artists online who do this content creation well. Megan Trainor, do you remember she had that song, It's All About That Bass?
Because I'm all about that bass, no trouble.
She hires Chris Olsen, a famous, people when they see him they go, who is this guy, what's he famous for? Being a content creator.
So I was 30 years old when I found out that Chris Olsen is in fact on Meghan Trainor's payroll. I posted a TikTok yesterday joking about how Chris Olsen is definitely on Meghan Trainor's payroll. They're literally always with each other, he's always traveling with her, and it has to just make sense. Only to quickly find out that that's true. I mean, this doesn't shock me because obviously music is blowing up on TikTok. After researching, this duo confirms that Chris Olsen was in fact hired by Meghan's team, which is honestly genius because it's clearly working. Her music is everywhere.
She's so smart. Hires him whenever she feels like, I think has probably a song coming up or some release, to just make TikToks with, because he understands the landscape of those platforms. If you want to be a successful content creator, you need to be on there all the time, creating content based on what the platform is decided is the trend of the week. Maybe I've come to that conclusion. Maybe the content creator is at the behest of the platform. The content just kind of comes from, they're not sitting at home thinking, what new interesting thing can I come up with? They're thinking, what's already existing on here? Sorry, I'm having one of those realization moments, or this is going to happen a lot. Anyway, she hires him. They do loads and loads and loads of videos, loads of likes, loads of follows, loads of likes, loads of follows.
I swear the way you blow my mind should be against the law. Blue lights.
If she a baby mama, she gon' do that baby mama.
Work.
She
Goes viral. Someone that bam releases a song. And woo, we love Meghan Trainor. She's so much fun. Look at all the videos she's done with Chris Olsen. Are people going to see her because the music struck a chord? Not to have a double meaning pun in there, or because she's established this relationship with that audience. Now I don't necessarily know how much TikTok views relate to gigs, but if you can continually tap into that audience, maybe I mean, it's going to help.
What Chris and I did on these apps just like revamped my music career. It's like I got new fans and a lot of comments were like, I didn't know you're still doing it. And I was like, yeah, I've been here, but thank you for joining, It's weird because I guess the whole famous thing, they separate you from being a person, And I guess I try on TikTok to show everyone like, no, I'm a person.
Another interesting one is Doechii and that song Anxiety. So she wrote it or sang it in her bedroom, like a live home studio version. And it's with the sample of Gautier's Somebody That I Used to Know.
Anxiety, keep on trying me.
Fun fact, Gautier has a fair use or it's fair, he didn't copyright his song, it's fair use. So anyone can use it, anyone can sample it, and they don't have to pay any royalties to him. He was just like, everybody can do what they want with this song. I'm more interested in people creating something from what I've created. Now that's a proper artist. And so she sampled that song. People were raving about it. A dance then came from it, which I think featured in Fresh Prince of Bel-Air with Will Smith. So everybody's doing the dance from that. Oh, now Will Smith and this girl have been reunited to do the dance. Woo! Like this sort of meta, like the art is there. And you're thinking, God, this anxiety song's so good, but then the dance, and then, oh no, Will Smith's done the dance, and then people on the video, Dochi then appears in. I'll try play it. In the comments, people were like, well, that third woman just ruined it. Who's that girl? That she just ruined it. And people are like, that's her song. And they're like, well, that's Will Smith's dance. And they're like, well, that's her song. The only reason why they're doing the dance is because of her song, because then the dance started going with the... People were getting angry and defensive over it. Was too much. I mean, I know it's TikTok comments and I shouldn't really take it seriously, but it's like this Dochi having to play the... Maybe she likes it. I mean, she's a force of nature. She's got this incredible... You can feel the artistry coming through her. But then an interesting point... So I didn't even finish that point, but an interesting point is that home version wasn't a completed version of the song. It was just a version of it. Now... Because it went viral, the feedback loop on that was insane. So she went into the studio and recorded a full version. Now, do you think people were happy about that? No. When she released that, the full version, listen to it. It's not as good as the home version. I don't like this version. It's not as good. No, I don't like it. Don't like it. Like, we don't need this. She does not need all these. Should she have recorded the full version? Probably. Should she have done it at that speed? Maybe. And then everyone has their right to say what they want, but man, it's just that sort of stuff that makes you go, oh. The constant feedback loop is not necessary. I think art needs to make you feel something. Now, I'm not really good for making grand statements like that. Shock horror art needs to make you feel something. It needs to exist without its commercial purpose. Now, I think content creation, it's about numbers. I think content is filler. I think it's passing the time. I think it's used to sell stuff. I think it's used for people to hustle. I think it is marshmallow for our brains. And I think it lacks depth. And I think we need to focus on depth a bit more. Like I said, depth. When people say, it's not that deep when you post something. It maybe should be. I think one of the main things between art and content is art is subjective and it could be interpreted in so many ways. Like when I've written songs or I've listened to songs, I don't know what the artist meant. I have no idea what they're talking about. You're hearing this, you're hearing the music, accompanying the lyrics. It's all sort of interwoven. Same with paintings. People who love art, and paintings, that moves them in other ways. Poetry. It's sort of abstract. And you can interpret it in so many ways. And it can make you feel, remind you that you are a consciousness in a body. That you're not hopefully just an automaton. And that when you watch a drama and you feel the stinging in your eyes, or you listen to a song and you feel everything sort of sink down or rush up, that's what art does. It taps into your consciousness, taps into, if we have souls, your soul, your essence. It makes you feel like you're alive, like you exist. I mean, you're with it, you feel it within your body, or you feel it within your mind. Who knows where you feel it, but you feel it. You can feel the art in you. content where someone is just pranking someone or lip syncing to a song, I don't really know if that makes you feel anything. I mean, maybe it does, but I think it's a bit empty. And I think we shouldn't dismiss people when they want more and they want depth. And when an artist makes content for their art, I think they're trying to redirect us to the art, with a constant need, post. The burnout is real. When you see a funny Lewis Capaldi video, do you then put your phone down, get the vinyl out, pop it on, lie down on the ground and listen to his songs and weep? Or do you lift your finger up a millimeter and scroll on? Probably the second. I'm sure some people will have done the first. But it's all on the same platform, and I think that's detrimental. I think artists should never have probably been on any of these platforms. I think they shouldn't see likes, they shouldn't see comments. I think it should almost... I'm going right out there and saying we should ban artists and arts from being on these social media platforms. I think it's a privilege not to have to make content if you're an artist. Now, I feel like there's an elitist thing again creeping in again where content creators are like, what I do has meaning. Sure. I mean, you probably enjoy it, it's probably fun. But if you're just following trends, copying others, I mean, it's like cover bands. Cover bands know they aren't the artists. They're sort of emulating the artists and they're having a good laugh doing it. I think a lot of content creators are doing that too. I think there's a lot of people on these platforms that, I mean, I have gained a lot of insight from a variety of different content creators. It's interesting and fun, but I do know it's destroying my attention span. I think content is degrading art. I think it's all being interwoven and sort of eating away at each other. I think content creators want to be artists. Like have you seen the amount of transitions from, I thought they were just a content creator, to a podcaster, which I guess would be, depending on the podcast, content creation, to singer, to actor. And they get more of a chance then because they've created the platform. Then you would say, well, they deserve it because they've created this audience. But the audience wasn't there for the singing. So, and are they only just following this person onwards because they're likable again? Where are the unlikable people? I don't think Prince would have done well now. I don't think Bob Dylan would have done well now. They shouldn't have to. I don't want to see them having to. It's almost like it's degrading. And I'm not, like, when I see an artist doing any of this, I mean, I can talk. I've made people do it. It's out of a necessity. This isn't like, why are you guys making all this content? Why are all these art? Like, they have to. There's no choice now. Label, like, people won't pay attention unless there's going to be a shift. Now, an interesting article was in this new Instagram page I started following. See, there's good things. So the Instagram handle is metalabel __. I think it's 2 underscores. Difficult to see because maybe it's just a really long underscore. Anyway, it's got a yellow icon. I'll put it in the description. So I saw them post a little post going, and it's an article by Dazed. And the main point is, we've reached a boiling point. How do we create a better art world? So it's talking about just that world where art exists. Now I'm quoting it directly. To be a creative person today is to be constantly creating content to perform the act of being an artist. So you're online, creating content showing that you're an artist, kind of what we said, which you spend more time doing than you do being the artist. That's a quote by Yancey Strickler. So that, that's what I was saying. How do you do both? You spend your time going, hey, listen to my music. Where's the music? There's a prime example of this. There's like this girl band called Deja Vu on TikTok. I've seen so many of their videos and they're like, we're the new girl pop band. We're a pop band. I mean, if there was anything of an industry plan, I'm like, they've no music. They've got maybe 300,000-400,000 followers now. People are like, God, we love you. Can't wait to listen to it. You're only loving them because they're dancing around the streets, like kind of emulating the Spice Girls sort of vibe.
She has some problems for sure, but I think it's important to just
She's also ugly.
Well, Okay, no, I don't think that was necessary.
And I'm like, wow, that's like the ultimate performative act of an artist, because they're not. I don't even know if they're ever going to release music, but they might. But it sort of infuriates me. Like, I don't want to choose my band and music based on, you know, a funny video they do of them running down the street. I don't think that's a good thing. There's another bit here. Social media treats everything as content, Strickler adds. A fundraiser for someone whose house burned down, someone's thirst trap pics for their OnlyFans, my new poem I'm super proud of, an alarming news story. And it's like, all right, go out there and compete. Obviously, it's the wrong context for creative work. This is sort of also what I was saying, where I almost said we should ban artists from social media. I don't think it's the platform for art. I don't think it's the right space. I mean, it's like a good advertising sometimes, like, hey, look over there. That's what I see as content and I'm like, hey, I see it like as a signpost. Hey, look over there. There's some art. This isn't the art. Look over there. I mean, it could be. Like, I've seen beautiful, beautiful singer-songwriters online. But again, I don't think it's a good place for me to watch them, because I'm like, I could be like watching Severance, which you cannot watch while also being on your phone. I've decided you need to be in the bath. You need to be trapped in water, unable to look away. That's how you watch Severance. We need to delineate between the content creators and artists. I think they should not be interwoven. I think it's detrimental to artists. I think content creators should just be... I think it's just like a platform. I think it's just like being in the park and someone's over there doing something, but now it's in the digital world, because that's where we exist. We exist in the digital world. I think if you're a true lover of art and culture, I mean, I engage in all these platforms a lot. That's not the space to consume it. Now, YouTube is a little bit different, because there's a lot of long form content. There's things like this, which are absolutely probably, irritating the hell out of you of how long and spiraling this is. And you're like, fuck me, she can fucking talk for a long time about nothing. So I'm sorry about that. I think artists, but then people who are really likable will be like, no, I like creating the content because look, now I have all these people at my gigs. I'm so likable. I don't like... But it's like a necessity, isn't it? I think if you're an artist and you're going to promote yourself, I think just do it by promoting the song. Just play the song as much as possible. The song's live footage. People won't follow your music if they just love you for being a content creator. People won't follow you for your music if they just love you for being a content creator. So another definition of art. So I didn't really go into the definition much, but a definition of art from the Oxford Dictionary. I'm going to read it out because I don't want to get it wrong. Is art, the expression or application of human creative skill and imagination, producing works to be appreciated primarily for their beauty or emotional power. So I think beauty or emotional power is the most important thing. And it's using the imagination. So again, if you're making carbon copies of trends, that's not the imagination. You're not using, you're just copying. And it's sort of when we have these discussions, you sort of have to be a little bit, that's not it, that's not, you're not an artist. But I don't know how many content creators would, claim it. I know you're putting it in like in a class system of content class system. Where, and I mean, I guess art was at the top, and a dashcam video, as entertaining as they can be. And then there's entertainment. It's a hard one, isn't it? And the problem with content creation, when I was talking about how art is subjective and you feel, content creation, I think, is over-explanation. Everything is overly explained, every point made, every detail noted. If you're doing a get ready me or a makeup video or a music theory video or anything, a podcast, there's so much explanation, so much information that almost nothing is left to the imagination, which almost makes it devoid of creativity and beauty by the producer of that content and the receiver, Everything, it's just is. It's just a piece of information. And people who are, very romantic would say that you can find art in anything, which is true. You could probably make a whole art piece based around social media, but then that's the intention behind it. It's the creation and intention to express something, not just exist and be with over explanation and, So I think art is subjective and left for the imagination and interpretation. And I think content is over explanation, focusing on numbers, views, interactions, and engagement. I think art should have little to no feedback. I think it's beautiful when people go to gigs and everyone communes around something they love and enjoy, or they view a piece of art together, or people cry together watching a show, a movie. And then I think content is not that. I think it's numbers, views, engagement, fame, popularity, in your face, more and more trends. I think it's people interacting, and I think it's not me bashing social media. I'm on there all the time. It's not art. This is what I'm decided. It's not art. I don't think artists should have to be content creators. I don't know how that would change. I think the mystique needs to come back with artists. I don't think we need to know what they're thinking. I don't want to know what they're eating. I want their personality to be up for as much interpretation as their art is. I don't want you to interview another singer and ask them what the song is about. Listen to the song. Don't ask them what it's about. Don't ask them why they wrote it. We don't need to know. They might write an autobiography someday and tell us. Or I think they should lie. I think they should make up a different story every time they're asked. I've gone from not being sure what to think to thinking, let's not gatekeep. I just think that a new industry should come out where we find our art through curators and A&R people. Maybe it's not A&R, because I know a lot of artists hate A&R too, because they also sometimes tell them what to do. They were part of the industries, and the industry is there to make money. So we're always going to come back to that in the end. If you're an artist that wants to live off of your art, you will have to adhere to industry practices a lot of the time, unless you're rich and a nepo baby where money doesn't matter. And you can pay your rent, or your rent's paid for you. Sorry. I'm always on the verge of going off in that direction. No hate to nepo babies. Everybody's lovely. Everyone should create art if they want to. But I think we need something different. We need to stop making artists content creators. I think it's affecting the art. I think hooks have just become necessary. The most entertaining part of a song is now at the beginning of the song. They're really hoping someone will create a dance. Sometimes they'll create a dance. I think Chaperone is quite interesting now, because she's sort of leading the mystique way, and people aren't used to it, and they're like, why is she so stuck up? She's giving mean girl energy. Good. I don't think Lady Gaga doesn't need to do any more content. I think she should stop. I think content creators should keep doing what they want to do. I think, please stop. Can we slow down a bit with the intensity? I mean, because sometimes there's just so many videos with so much going on, and it's too much for me. Now, as you know, I've gone off in all sort of tangential meanderings. So part of this YouTube channel and this whole Jengo despair thing, this is the first episode, so you might have noticed it's gone in all sorts of directions. I think we know what content and art is now. I think we know there's a difference between artists and content creators. And I think it's about the intent and meaning behind what you're producing and the imagination that goes into it. I think there needs to be mystique. I think there needs to be emotion. I think there needs to be meaning. I think it needs to be up to a constant interpretation and reinterpretation. And I think it needs to make you feel something, all in your body, your mind. And not all art will make you feel something. That's the most amazing thing. I mean, it could have 1 million likes and you mightn't like it, but it could have made 1 million people feel something. Who knows? And I think content is filler. I think Emma Thompson's right. I think it's offensive to tell someone, oh, that was great content you made, when they've just crafted this beautiful sonnet for you. Then you should tell them they should post it between 6 and 9. Maybe on a Tuesday, or sometimes I've heard Saturdays are good. That's a great time to post your content. And then people might last a couple of days and then no one will see it again. Don't call people's art content. It's just like saying to someone they're just a piece of data. I think it's raining outside. So yeah, this Jengo's Despair channel I made, but mostly because I want to hear you guys' ideas. So that question I said earlier when I said, what do you think of when you hear the word artist? What comes to mind, and what do you think of when I say content creator? I'd be interested to know what you actually think. You know, there's a Patreon down there and a Discord, and the Discord, you know, you can get Discord Ask with the Patreon. It doesn't matter how much you pledge or anything. But the last tier on the Patreon is the Culture Lovers Club tier. And that is, if people are interested, if at least 5 people are interested, after each episode drops, so after this one, a week or so after, it would probably be on a Sunday evening, so people, you know, around the world could, you know, it doesn't matter what time zone you're in, you might be able to access it. We'll have like a 45 to 60 minute Zoom talking about what I've tried to convey in this video, and then you can tell me your thoughts, or you can just listen, or you might have other questions, and we might be able to dig a little bit deeper about whether or not we should ban artists from social media. And content creators should be over there, so you'd have 2 apps, this for your content, this for your art. Oh, that actually sounds like a dream. But it's hard to move people around. You know, people are kind of stuck in their ways. It's hard to get people onto different things. Yeah. Anyway, so that's one of the tiers. So yeah, if you want to take part in the chat, you know, join that tier within the next, like, ideally 3-4 days, 5 days if you can, so then I can kind of get it, you know, schedule something with everyone in mind. If there's not enough people, I'll refund you. Don't worry. It's not like me trying to, you know, get loads of money from anybody or anything. And the Discord is where I want everyone to just go crazy and just have fun and talk about all this madness. And on the Patreon, there's loads of like behind the scenes stuff and blah, 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 blah. This isn't really a pitch for that. I just wanted to let you know why they exist and kind of what's happening adjacent to each episode. So thanks for watching. Sorry if this has been a bit mad. This is the first go at a long form solo video. It's hard talking about these ideas without like again, that feedback. But like a podcast, you kind of have someone to beat off of, and I understand all the different sort of perspectives. Well, I try to understand all the different perspectives. So it's hard to get to a conclusion. I mean, I don't know if we've got to a conclusion, but hopefully we have. Anyway, thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. Do what you want. Share it if you want. Don't share it. Join. Don't join. Thank you for watching Jengo's Despair.